Impact Week podcast. I'm Carolyn Tenser and I'm co-hosting today with Gio.
Yeah, hello everyone. And together we are bringing the podcast to you where real people create real impact. And this is the power of design thinking.
In our episodes, we want to highlight global changemakers who use design thinking to drive innovation and impact in underserved communities.
And you will get a chance to meet the Impact Week coaches, organizers, and also community leaders behind the movement. They will share how ordinary people are creating extraordinary change, one idea at a time.
Join us and be part of our global Impact Week community that creates impact. So welcome everybody. Today in this episode we have another design thinking champion who has been part of the very first Impact Week event with a Train the Coach exactly 10 years ago. And ever since then he has been a very active part of our community, and he's been helping to organize Impact Weeks in Kenya and especially in Nepal this year.
Yeah, and I'm really excited, and I think Caro, you as well, to welcome him today here on board in our episode, because you mentioned to me that he is basically your mentor and he was sharing all his knowledge with you, and that you are guaranteed also a great onboarding process with you a couple of years ago. Right, Caro?
Yeah, exactly. In 2021, we started talking about founding Impact Week as an independent organization, and Tilo has not only helped with the process, but he has also equipped me to do the job that I'm doing now. And in this episode, we would like for you to also learn more about Impact Week and design thinking from an organizer's point of view. So everyone, give me, a round of applause for Tilo Hillmer.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Caro, Gio. I was asked to give a short introduction on myself, which I will happily do right now. I live here in Frankfurt together with my family. I have 2 kids and 2 cats. Been working for Lufthansa for 37 years now, currently in the role of a principal business consultant, in the role of a trainer. That means I teach people basically how aviation works, which is, because of the given complexity, a very rewarding thing, because people really want to know this, especially when they already work in an airline. And honestly, I'm with Impact Week now for 10 years. That's also something which is about me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big milestone, and we're really curious to also hear from you how Impact Week has changed in the 10 years and how it was at the very first Impact Week. You were there at Africa Nazarene University in Kenya. It was the second year, but the first time that we actually introduced a train the coach model to not only train local multipliers, but also to involve people from corporations whose training fee helps to fund the programs. And Tilo, we're really curious. It was a new concept. What made you sign up for this, and how did you hear about the Impact Week event?
Well, until 2016, there was a call for applications within Lufthansa Group. And they had 3 spots, and it was group wide, and I applied. Program was taking place in Kenya, which immediately caught my attention. And I also had an already basic understanding of design thinking, and this combination was kind of really made me curious and wanting to pursue this idea. And in addition to that, we were told that the idea behind this is not just me getting a training. It was basically of bringing that knowledge to another country, to a place where it didn't exist yet at a scale of what was needed. So I felt like this is kind of a good mixture of building up some knowledge for myself and collect some karma points at some point, because it gives you kind of a feeling of sense. And I decided to apply, wrote a letter of motivation, and at one point when asked why I believe I was a perfect fit for this particular slot. I used an analogy. Essentially, it was like I said, it's me because it would fit like a glove. But I phrased that in German. I used an, let's say, not so nice way of putting it. And that kind of language is very untypical for Lufthansa because we are very dead serious. But somehow that was exactly what made me stand out. So they kept my name in mind. And at some point in time, I was by far the oldest applicant. Um, they say, well, okay, it should be this guy. And that was the beginning of everything. And about, yeah, basically, I went to Kenya, met incredible people, had an experience of a lifetime, and here we are 10 years later.
It's actually that kind of Tilo language that I still found in some templates today, and it always makes me chuckle because it's so typical. Um, yeah, thank you for that impression. How are you still in touch with people from 10 years ago? And if so, yeah, who and how have they developed since then?
Well, yeah, absolutely. What I do is I have regular contact with my two local buddies. We were unlike today, where you just have one local buddy in the trainer course. It's basically we had two of them, and they were James Obuhuma and John Gila, and they are major drivers of design thinking and Impact Week style events in Kenya and around, including Uganda, including Tanzania. So they really spread what we planted 10 years ago actively. And we're still in touch. I really admire these guys. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff left from there. But also from the various impact weeks in between where I was involved, which was also in Nepal, which was in Albania. And yeah, so a lot of people and impressions that follow me basically every day somehow.
Wow. And you mentioned already how you get involved in the Impact Week 10 years ago. I would like to know from you, Tilo, what is the special thing about the Impact Week in your opinion?
The special thing, or the thing I take out of spending all my time into this and the energy, is that unlike many other activities in my life, this is something where you can actually feel and see
Mhm.
the results, the impact. I know that I have made a difference for people. I know that the stuff we did made a difference for people. It changed lives, it changed directions, it changed development paths from idea to execution. Let's take African Nazarene University as an example, or also the King's College in Kathmandu in Nepal. Both of them developed from being open to entrepreneurship and innovation into becoming a center of that particular thing in their region. That means just a recent development. When we went to Nepal in 2019, pre-COVID, they were like, we should go more the way towards innovation and entrepreneurship. And then we came up and they said, well, that's a cool step, a cool first step we should pursue. And then they continued working with it. Two of the senior coaches in Nepal this year will be local senior coaches, and they set up something they called Innovation Kitchen, which is a framework where you find accelerator and an incubator to provide startups with chances to actually pitch and get in touch with people with the money. And just recently, they got the approval from the Ministry of Education to
Mm.
the first university in Nepal with a master studies on entrepreneurship and innovation. So they really took that opportunity and moved forward and start to spread things. And the same happened to African Nazarene University in uh, in Kenya. So you see something. And I think about people, and not to mention only one of them, but Lorena Tieno is a good example of how to develop from a student participant to a person who goes to India or to Jordan and teach Northerners in design thinking as a senior coach, which is
Mhm.
tremendous development. And I really admire people like her who really take that opportunity and go ahead.
And when I'm asking you about a highlight, is there something which popping up already into your mind when I'm asking you, Tilo, what was the highlight so far for you joining the Impact Week?
Um, Short story from Albania. We went there in 2023.
Mhm.
Had I contact in the university, she was part of the organization of the university, not a faculty member. And so well, we were brought into this university and we got there. And our supporter, she was very positive, she was very go-minded, and the professors, they were much more skeptical.
Mhm.
They told us like our students are not good. They just sit there, they listen, there's no energy, they don't ask questions, they don't engage. In short, the professors did not believe much would happen. And on the first day, we were supposed to have like 90 students participating in the teams, and only like slightly below 70 showed up, which was pretty disappointing. And at first glance, it seemed to confirm what the professors had been saying. So um, we were not sure about will this be a successful Impact Week or not. And when the day came to an end and we were done with the stuff we do, and um, then we were sitting around with the organizers and the coaches, and then one very young student popped up. She was in her first year, and she said, "Excuse me, may I say something?" And she said, "Okay, we're here in Albania in Girokastra, which is a small city in the south." And she said, "I see my friends leaving the country. They go everywhere for education, for living, to build their future. And I don't want to do this. I want to stay here and do it here. And that's why I'm here to bring things forward, to help to build, create ideas that really bring our community forward." And that was so inspiring, actually. I instantly offered her a mentorship. Whenever she had an issue in her life, just call me. And she got my business card because she was like 18 years old or something. And this was not the end of the story, but because minutes later, other students popped up and they said, "Well, we know that we're already one day in, but can we bring some friends tomorrow? This is amazing. Can we bring others?" And when we said, "Yeah, of course," so we fill up to 90, and the next day we had 95. And the entire hallway of the university was full of energy. People were discussing and talking and moving, building things, and you could really feel the buzz. It was like alive. And I remember seeing these professors walking by, looking at the scene, and they had completely confused expressions in their face. It was like, what is this? And they came up to me and asked me, "Well, what did you do to these people?" And I was, my first thought, honestly, was, what did you do to these people before, right?
Oh.
Um, because the energy was clearly there all along.
Mhm.
It just hadn't been activated. And the teaching style that they actually were used to was very frontal, yeah. Professors talking, being the expert, and the students just listening, no interaction, no engagement. And seeing this change within a single day was so incredibly powerful. And it reinforced one simple lesson I've learned is that trust the method.
Mhm.
It works. And that's I've mentioned that you can see the impact you have on people. And they really created solutions that really contributed to the stuff this young student actually was talking about. So that there were initiatives to keep people in place, to create jobs, and to have a place where job creators and students, for instance, can meet and then do stuff. And that was so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is this kind of magic moment, and which is also happening not only with the Impact Week or with the design thinking methodology, but also having this spark moment, let me say it this way. And this is also what I experienced. I joined the Impact Week in Athens, and we had also there one participant. He was so shy, only one word he was saying. And after 2 weeks, he was so enthusiastic. He spoke so much, and it was really a life-changing moment also for him. And to see
Mhm.
him sitting on the stage, being on the stage and presenting the results, this was yeah a magic moment. And I fully see what you mentioned and what you experienced, Tilo. And I'm half German, so I have to ask the question also about the but. So, what would you do maybe? Because you mentioned also you joined the Impact Week also as an organizer. Is there maybe something you would do differently when you're looking back and seeing what you did? Maybe something you would do more or maybe less? Maybe also based on the experience you mentioned with the university in Albania.
There's one very simple thing, and I don't really have to look back a long time to figure that out. What I should definitely do, and I tell me this daily every day, is I could be less complex in what I do. I'm over scripting things. I'm over preparing things. I'm always too precise, and that is okay for me because I'm behind this concept, but it's
Mm.
overwhelming for everybody else. So I spend a lot of work on cool things nobody uses. Um, so focus is definitely it. Um, I would like to outline a bit something about the organizers. Um, Being an organizer is, at first glance, it's a bad trade-off because you're working in the background. You have a lot of work studying. In our case, yet now for Nepal this year, almost a year before even the first people arrive on scene, and you have a lot of things to do. We have a very long task list, and at the end, you just still stand there in the background and organize details on site. And at the very end, it's the participants who actually get cheered at. And you just have this more silent, good feeling of delivery, right? There's something beautiful happened and you were like responsible for it. It's not, you don't get on stage for the applause. And sometimes you do, but in principle, others have more cool rules and
Mhm.
cool roles in this. But for everybody or anybody who is thinking about contributing to Impact Week and is already beyond that junior coach maybe and looks for fulfilling jobs in our community. Becoming an organizer is something because you learn a lot more than you just did while you were being taught as a junior coach. You interact a lot more with the locals. You have to really dive into local politics, and I just had to find a way to pay a local for something. And good question, what do you pay? Is that what is too much? What is not enough? To really, you have to really get into the culture, into the society. You learn a lot, and you develop because it is not at all comparable with kind of project management in our countries. And so if you don't dare to really jump into really cold water sometimes, get in touch with me. We have a
I
we have a cool mentor concept. That means you do not start like really cold water. It's somebody that,
Mm.
who helps you, who gives you support, consults you, takes tasks you cannot do from scratch. So there's a mentorship model, which is also very cool.
Wow,
and very
impressive.
helpful. Yeah. Yeah, Tilo, you've been mentoring organizers for a while now, and I think it's also very helpful to get the experience from someone like you who's been organizing workshops in Kenya, in Albania, in Nepal, and every time the context changes, I think that's also a layer that's often underestimated. But I agree with you. It's also very rewarding. And I think the relationship that you had with John and James, for example, from the first Impact Week, that kind of manifested when we organized the first Impact Week in Kenya in 2022 together. And we really met with them on a weekly and bi-weekly basis, depending on the needs, and really discussed a lot of the topics. Also, which challenges do you give into the design thinking process, for example? What is something that can be dealt with in the realm of 4 days? What is maybe a too much of a sensitive topic? What is the current political situation in the country, which you have to evaluate on a regular basis, because of course things can change very quickly, or yeah, any, I would say, natural or weather related incidents that are sometimes not really plannable, but of course you have to speak about it and you have to really get to know our local partners so that you have this basis of trust that when things happen, you know that you're in this together and you will always find a way to make things work in the best way possible. And I think that's also something that's deeply, yeah, satisfying. And I thank you so much for introducing me to this. Yeah. All right, let's dive a little bit deeper into design thinking as a topic. You mentioned you've already been working with design thinking. You're a Scrum Master as well. How has what you learned at Impact Week and what you've been working with helped you in your job?
Before Impact Week, I was subject to design thinking. I mean, I was in a team and we had a coach, and the lady, she guided us through a process, and that was quite convincing in the first place because I realized quickly this works somehow. I didn't fully got the concept, but I just followed and it worked. Then there was my own education, and from there, I have to admit also the Scrum Master education came from there because that's when I was started into diving into agile methods. That's really 10 years ago. Agile was only for programmers at that point in time, and but it all made sense on a comprehensive picture. And um, I had the chance to apply my skill set not very often, but at very crucial points. So there were some major reorganizations in the Lufthansa IT subsidiary, or also within the entire Lufthansa IT organization, including all of the companies and airlines involved. And I was part of the game just by coaching the experts and the decision makers through the process. Same which we had is we developed the world's first airline operations AI in a 4-day sprint,
Wow.
and it is still working. It was a very early approach. Today we wouldn't make it differently, but somebody needed to start this. So I had good opportunities to really be part of something, yeah, important, let's say. And it paved my way for basically everything. A year after Impact Week, I relocated into another company focusing on data science and AI. So all of that was kind of a reasonable step-by-step approach, and it helped a lot.
Oh, honestly speaking, I could listen to you for a very, very long time, Tilo. It's very inspiring me to listen to you, what you experience, and also how you connect all the dots for you in your professional role, but also it is at least a feeling I have now during our podcast recording here. Also, you on your personal and also emotional level, it seems so that this is the case. So thanks for sharing this. And what we also did is we already interviewed several people in our podcasts here. And I think most of them, they claimed also that design thinking were useful for them, not only on their professional career, but also in other areas and maybe also personal lives. Could you say for yourself, Tilo, yes, that's also for me the case? And is there some story you would like to share where design thinking changed something in your life?
There was basically just one thing, but that had so many knock-on effects. Um, I'm a male human being, and we males, we are like into solutions immediately. When somebody pops up with a problem description, they might not even finish the sentence. We're already into solutions. And I got one sentence from design thinking that was, don't fall in love with the solution, fall in love with the problem. So I had to learn the hard way that when somebody describes a problem or whatever they call it, as a coach, my job is not to start my solution engine. It is about guiding them on their way to find their solution. That was the hardest part, also given my personality, which I'm even maybe super male in this respect because I'm so much, the engine is working all the time. Um, that was a big impact on my overall life because sometimes I realize that I'm already into the solution mode and then I stop myself, which also gave a few nice opportunities in my private life because it makes you shut up, and that's sometimes good.
Oh,
Not going too much into detail.
maybe then for the next episode, we need a part 2 version then.
Maybe we need to interview your wife with her perspective on this.
Not sure if this is a smart idea.
Think about solutions, not problems, Tilo.
That's not legal. Well,
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for the insight. I think it's also very interesting to hear how it transcends into the personal life and what lessons you can take away from design thinking, but also from Impact Week. Um, you mentioned that any future community members who are interested in organizing an Impact Week can approach you. How should they go about it? Do you have any advice for people who are interested in this? I would like to hear your take on this.
well, the important thing is, as an organizer, you're treated like also our senior coaches. Impact Week will bring you there. The senior coaches, they deliver definitely a lot less time, but also very much of their energy into delivering on site. Organizers prepare in beforehand, and it is a multi-layered experience when you want to develop as a project manager, as a organizer of whatever you can think of. It comes with language things, it comes with culture things, it comes with mentality things. You have to really immerse into societies and communities you have no clue about yet, and you will learn, and it will do something to you. It will make you humble sometimes. It will also make you very enthusiastic on the other hand side. And there's so much in it if you like that. And if you should do, then get in touch with me.
Thank you for yeah, for saying that. And I think it also speaks very highly of the experience that we have a lot of people that come back and organize for a second or third time or get involved in some other capacity. So yeah, we hope that many of the listeners are excited to try something new and hopefully join us at one of the Impact Weeks that are coming up.
I might add, this is my idea of mentorship, to make it new organizers as easy and as beautiful as possible so that they cannot actually do anything else but come back and do it again. And honestly, the second Impact Week is so much easier than the first one. And the third one is something where you can already become a mentor because you know how it works. It is not rocket science, um, but of course, it's a lot of freestyle development with ever-changing environments.
Oh,
More questions?
impressive. And great that you made this kind of advertisement here for the listeners to be open-minded and to be curious to learn more about your Impact Week and also the design thinking approach, and also for your advice and also your offer to all the listeners. And when you, now speaking more to the listeners, would like to know more information, get more insight about the Impact Week and the design thinking approach, just let us know, join our community, and then you can find more information about it. And if you would like to organize one of the Impact Week as well, we're more than happy to give you more guidance here. And now you know you have Tilo as a mentor on your side. Great to know that.
And you will find me in the community platform easily. So looking forward.
Nice. And speaking of looking forward, you will be joining the Impact Week in Nepal. And I wanted to know what is the thing which you are most excited about it when you're thinking about the upcoming Impact Week in Nepal?
Um, we did a few things we should repeat, I think. We started early, like a year before it actually takes place. So there was not much time pressure on it. Yet we were focusing and working on it. So we're at a very good state. There's so many things in there. I was able to attract two young um, lead organizers whom I have the honor to mentor through this process, and they're really doing good. Um, so much initiative, and they're quick thinkers and very kind people as well. So that's a cool team. And we have our senior coaches together basically with us. Just one position is still kind of undisclosed. And the university, which is the same one as we had in 2019, was there on the spot. We were just like asking, shall we? And they said, sure. And then we started. We got the agreements that are required within a week. And everybody is really goal-minded. We have cool track topics where we will really work on important problems in the community in Nepal and in Kathmandu especially. So there's so much positive things in there, and everybody's like always like go go go, and that gives you energy, even if sometimes it takes some to do the work. But um, yeah, that will be a great one, and I'm really looking forward. We have half of the seats already occupied by future junior design thinking coaches, and looking forward to yeah, a very smooth event. And yeah,
Awesome.
PayPal once again.
Yeah, so to anyone listening who's interested to join, you have to be quick. Half the seats are taken, and it's only February as we speak. So we're hoping for a full house and a really nice opportunity for intercultural exchange and exchange of ideas and perspectives that Impact Week provides. Speaking not just about the Impact Week Nepal that's coming up, but also thinking about the future. What do you think? Where should Impact Week evolve? Or comparing it to the last 10 years, the steps that have been made, where do you see this going? And what's your hope for the future for Impact Week?
Um, Basically, two things. One thing which is already taking place is that Impact Week has adapted to change requirements. So we have different formats now that really reflect needs that are out there, either with our partners or in the communities. We have managed to focus a lot more also on creating results that can then create solutions that really implement it, that create jobs, that create futures. So the startups arising from Impact Week, the numbers is growing, which is absolutely perfect. What I would wish to have is a longer planning horizon. That means that we have enough capacity on our side to be at least halfway ready for next year in September when everybody is planning their vacation and their budgets on the company side, on the private participant side, so that we get away a bit from this ad hoc setup. That's better for quality, that's better for energy, that's better for everything. We did a few steps in this direction. We're not yet there, but having basically one Impact Week a month somewhere on the planet would be my target. Not bigger, because that would overwhelm the volunteer network quickly. And we do not have enough turnover to really fully fund full-time employees who do that. So as long as we stick to the model we have a limit, but I think I'm fine because it's not about quantity. It's definitely about quality of delivery. That means initiating this particular spark in a region that then, like Kenya and Nepal, evolves into something bigger.
I think that's a great vision when we're now looking forward for the next upcoming 10 years. And then let's schedule already a meeting in 10 years. So then we can have a look back how we developed further the Impact Week, and also then in which kind of countries we brought this kind of joy and also the design thinking methodology to life, to change people's mind and also at some point their lives. Wow. We're coming now to closer and closer to the end, Tilo. And what we have all the time in our podcast at the end is a so-called rapid fire question. And
short answers.
Short answers, right.
Nice.
See. And I will now read out some questions to you and just tell us the first thing which came up into your mind. Are you ready?
Can we edit this afterwards?
Let's see.
You can change your mind.
Yes. Depends on
No,
the end
go.
of answers. Okay. Because you working in the airline industry, of course, I have to ask one question regarding the airplane, and it's about your preferred seat. So aisle or window seat?
Aisle, definitely.
Okay. A place you would like to visit next?
Tuscany.
Okay. And speaking of design thinking methodology, there's also the prototyping phase. And here I have a question: with or without music when prototyping?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, with or without music when prototyping?
Doesn't matter. I'm into with.
Okay. Okay. And Impact Week in one word.
So many levels. Amazing.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Amazing is also the word I would use to say when I'm now was able to, or had the chance to talk with you now in this podcast and was able to meet you here and interview you, Tilo. So it was very amazing to see your experience you shared with us, and also to see the joy and the energy you have by bringing the Impact Week more to life, and also being as a mentor for others who are interested to join the Impact Week as an organizer or also as a coach. So I would like to thank you for taking your time speaking with me, with us here on the podcast. So it was an honor to talk with you. So thank you very much for this. And now, Caro, I think last words from you, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot going on this year, and I can only agree with Gio. Thank you so much for joining and for contributing as well. That the Impact Week calendar is richer of one Impact Week in Nepal, and that you're spearheading this and supporting our local team. I'd also like to point out that I think it's very obvious that you're embodying the principles of Impact Week very well. In the beginning, when you said we're just bringing out something in the participants that's already been there, I think that really sums up what Impact Week is here to achieve, and that we're just there to show people what power they have and what energy they can bring to the table in changing something in their communities. And I really value that you really show those values, and it's one of the things that you always teach your mentees as well, which I think is equally important to the kind of practical things on how to organize an Impact Week. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, this year you can join us in celebrating our 10-year anniversary of the Train the Coach. We are piloting our hybrid format together with our trusted partners in Kenya as a little nod to where it all started. Our partners always say what begins here transforms the world. And now we're transforming the Train the Coach into a hybrid model. We're testing this for the first time and then launching it in Armenia later this year. We also have the new programs that you mentioned, Tilo, with our Impact Lab taking place in Bangalore and possibly more locations. And of course, we've launched the community platform where you can get in touch with us and with Tilo if you want to get involved in any future programs. And then, of course, we have the Impact Weeks in Nepal and in the Philippines that are taking place. So you can check out our website for limited spots that are available.
Great. So then, to all the listeners today, thank you for listening to the Impact Week podcast. And don't forget to subscribe our channel and also spread the word about Impact Week. I'm your host, Gio.
And I'm Carolyn. Thanks again for listening to our Impact Week podcast. Real people, real stories. Sorry, this one we
need to
re-record.
Say again, cut it
Little
out.
blooper. Real people create real impact. The power of design thinking.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.